You can do a quick Florida inheritance from home. You can inherit the decedent's home fast. Here are the 5 steps I use. Before we dive into those 5 steps, I always remind my team to consider whether we qualify for what's called a quick summary administration. We qualify if it's been 2 years or more since the decedent passed away. If it's been less than 2 years, that's okay. We can still qualify if you're inheriting $75,000 or less. Now, some of you might be saying, hold it right there, J.O. Are you telling me that I don't qualify just because I'm inheriting the decedent's house? Don't worry. The decedent's home does not count against the $75,000 limit. My name is Jesus Orlando Valentino. You can call me J.O. Valentino. We've helped hundreds of families with their inheritances. So with that, let's dive right in. Step number 1 is for me to put together the petition to determine homestead. Homestead means the home that the decedent lived in. The purpose of the petition to determine homestead is to show that the house that the decedent owned was the decedent's home. Paragraph 1 of the petition to determine homestead is your name and the decedent's name. Paragraph 2 is the address of the property and the legal description of the property. Paragraph 3 has the names of the beneficiaries. Paragraph 4 says that the house was the decedent's home and homestead. Paragraph 5 lists the names of anyone else involved with the case. And the last paragraph on the petition states that you are requesting that the court enter an order stating that the house was a homestead. And that brings us to step number 2, which is the affidavit in support. It's also called the third-party affidavit. This document is required in some counties, but not all. The affidavit of support is a notarized letter, but it's not notarized by you though. You find someone to get it done for you. The best choice is a neighbor because the neighbor's affidavit stands up really well in court. The neighbor has no link to the inheritance, so they have no reason to lie. Try to avoid picking a neighbor if the neighbor has the same last name as the decedent. I've received a rejection letter. If you don't have a neighbor, then what you could do, and I've seen this with a lot of success in my experience, is finding a friend of the decedent. Maybe the decedent's best friend is looking to help you out. If you can't get a friend or a neighbor, then maybe you can look to a cousin. And again, try to pick a cousin who doesn't have the same last name as you. You don't want to get held up. Now, when it comes to getting the affidavit in support signed, you can be tech savvy. You can use an online notary. The good thing about this is then nobody has to leave the home. If you're not tech savvy, that's okay. What I've seen work with great success is that you go and you pick that signer up and you take them to a notary. Now, what the affidavit in support says is the signer's name and the signer's identification number. So if you're using an ID or a driver's license, make sure you put the full driver's license number there. I've received a rejection letter in the past for it just stating Florida ID. This is not a place where you want to skip out on the details. Continuing on, the affidavit of support will also state how many years the signer knew the decedent and also how many years the signer knew that the decedent lived in the house. The document will also state who does the signer believe are the beneficiaries of the estate. And then it's going to have a notarization paragraph on the bottom for the notary to sign. If you are signing this with a notary in person and you see your notary get distracted, make sure to double check that notarization paragraph. Make sure every box is checked out. One that could be missed is the date of the notary or how the notary confirmed the identification of the signer. You want to make sure that you don't leave the notary and have an incomplete document. You want to make sure it's all there, so check it while you're in front of the notary. That's what I ask my people to do, and it's worked to great effect. Now, step number 3 is to provide a utility bill or tax bill. Not every county requires this. If you have to do this step, then what you'll do is you will click the link for what's called the tax collector. And the tax collector has a search function where you enter the address of the property, and then you'll see all the tax history for the property. And with that tax history, you click the most recent one and it'll pull up, and download that PDF. You'll know it's good because it'll have the decedent's name on it and the address of the property. Whether the bill has been paid or not is not what matters. What matters is that the decedent's name is on the tax bill, because the point of this document is to show the court that the decedent owned this property. In steps 4 and 5, you will be putting together the proposed orders that the judge will sign. I know it sounds crazy, but you can do it from home. In step number 4, you'll be putting together the proposed order determining homestead. This is the paper that will show that you have inherited the decedent's home. In this document, it'll have your name, the date the decedent passed away. It'll also state the address and the legal description of the property. Try not to make any boo-boos when writing that legal description. That's what I always remind my team. And then you'll also have on that order the names of the beneficiaries and a statement that now that home is protected from the claims of creditors. Now, there are limitations, so don't go out there doing wild stuff. Don't try and skip out on paying your tax bill, okay? Don't go out and skip paying your roofer, okay? It's probably not gonna go well for you. Step number 5 is to write the order of summary administration. And this order, it'll have your name, it'll have the decedent's name, it'll have the date that the decedent passed away, it'll have the names and addresses of all the beneficiaries, as well as the assets that each beneficiary is going to receive. If you are inheriting a homestead, I always tell my team to not include the homestead property in the order of summary administration. This is something I did before once, and I got a rejection letter, so we never want to do that again. The bank account that you're inheriting does go in the order of summary administration. The homestead property does not go in the order of summary administration. Got it? Sometimes the inheritance is only about the home. There's no bank account, there's nothing else. So my team has asked me before, hey, J.O., does that mean that we can skip the order of summary administration? What I do is I remind them that the petition for summary administration is what opens up the whole case, and the order of summary administration is what closes the whole case. We are still going to do an order of summary administration. We'll do it like this. We include some magic language to make sure everything goes through. We submit the proposed order determining homestead, and at the same time, we submit the proposed order of summary administration. And in that proposed order of summary administration, we include some language that says, there are no assets remaining in the estate. All assets were distributed through a concurrent court order. That's my quick basic guide to inheriting a Florida home without ever stepping foot outside your own home. Go to jovalentino.com. Get started today with your inheritance. And remember, whenever filling out legal documents, don't commit fraud, because you can go to jail. I've seen it and it ain't pretty. Have a great day. Bye-bye.